I remember as a kid going to the local fair and winning a goldfish in a little clear plastic bag as a prize. I don't know, like the ring toss game or something. And it was this really cool, exciting moment for, third grade, second grade me. But I didn't realize what came with getting a pet goldfish because I didn't go to the fair thinking maybe I'll come home with a pet. So our trip home added the detours of, we're going to have to go get a goldfish bowl. And we're going to have to get gravel and food, and we have to find the right kind of water. And I'm going to have to learn things about how to take care of a goldfish. None of these were things I had on my radar that day going to the fair, wanting to just get to play games. I just wanted a prize. And now I find there's a cost to this free goldfish. Free goldfish, but a cost in terms of how I would live as goldfish owner. And unfortunately for me and for the goldfish, I didn't really think through all that it would cost me. Poor PJ the goldfish was not long for this world. And I have to think some part of me was responsible for the shortness of his life because I wasn't really prepared to consider the costs of owning a goldfish. Even though it was free, that it would change my life to take responsibility for feeding the goldfish. Not too much, not too little, keeping the water clean, filtering the water, taking care, all those kinds of things, and even change how I would use my time. You have to periodically, go back and check on the goldfish every day, make sure it has food, all those things. And it occurs to me that an awful lot of things in our lives that are free in one sense also come with a cost, not just in terms of finances, but in the ways they rearrange our lives once they come into them. I mean, grown-up me has had to learn the rhythms of having a dog, in recent years. Again, it's like the goldfish problem, right? It's not just what's the cost of the dog itself when you purchase it or get the shots for it or the license or the collar or all that, but now it's all the food and the walks and the time, and it takes your favorite spot in bed and all those things, and it gets this spot in your heart now where you're concerned about how the dog is doing. There's a cost to how you live your life once you bring, say, a creature into your life. And that's just with animals, right? Let's zoom out bigger. What it is to love anybody is a free thing, right? It doesn't cost money to have a friendship. It doesn't cost money to start a relationship with somebody. And yet, there are costs in our lives to having friends. It rearranges your life and your priorities to think about the needs of your friend, of your spouse, of your children. That's more than just a financial cost. It changes everything about you. And you lose a certain sense of freedom of you can do whatever you want to when there's, whether it's a goldfish or a dog or other people in your life. We pay a price in the ways we are willing to let our lives be rearranged by the things and the people that we love, that we give some piece of our lives to. All for things that, at least at face value, are free. I want to suggest that the life of following Jesus is the same thing. It's another one of those realities that's free, absolutely, utterly free, and yet will cost us everything. And not in the sense that Jesus demands a certain amount of sacrifice to show that we are worthy or dedicated enough. Sometimes Christians talk about the cost of discipleship in that kind of way. You've got to prove to Jesus how dedicated you are, so you must lose something very important. And I don't think Jesus is looking for, fraternity pledges. I don't think Jesus is looking for people to prove with outrageous stunts their devotion so much as, by definition, following Jesus is going to bring changes of our allegiance. And things that didn't used to matter will matter now, and things that we used to hold really, really dearly, we may have to surrender. Not because Jesus is testing how strong our love is, but because to follow Jesus rearranges our priorities. It changes how we spend our time, our energy, our love, our everything. So when Jesus, in this coming Sunday's gospel passage, talks to people and says, look, you need to be prepared. If you're going to follow me, you need to know it's completely free and yet will cost you everything. So Jesus doesn't demand a cash payment to become his disciple. There's no charge when we are baptized in order to pay God's satisfaction fees or something. But to become a follower of Jesus does change our relationship to everything else. We no longer get to live just for ourselves. Life isn't just how do I get what's best for me. It's now a matter of how do I follow Jesus and seek what's good for everybody around me. It's going to change how we spend our time, our energy, our money, and it will even change our relationships. So another passage that we're going to hear this coming Sunday is the entire book of Philemon. It's actually a letter that the Apostle Paul wrote. And in the course of this letter, Paul's writing to a Christian by the name of Philemon who had been a slave owner. That's a whole conversation by itself. But this slave who had been Philemon's property has escaped, has run away, has gotten himself freedom, and has come across paths with Paul, come to faith, and is now a follower of Jesus. And Paul now is writing to Philemon saying, basically, because you are both followers of Jesus, your relationship has dramatically changed. You used to be okay with owning human beings, but you're a follower of Jesus now. And being a follower of Jesus rearranges every relationship. You don't get to have just free labor out of him anymore. I'm sending him back into your life, but you don't get him as a slave anymore. He is your brother now. And you take care of him the way you would take care of a brother. That's what happens among the followers of Jesus. There's a cost, but it's not because God demands a certain price to prove our dedication or how serious we are, but rather to follow Jesus means, by definition, other things come into our lives that rearrange our old priorities. If taking care of a goldfish that you win for free at the fair changes how you use your time and energy, now you got to check on the goldfish and buy it food and worry about the goldfish and all that. Imagine now, as followers of Jesus, we're now people who care about everybody who Jesus cares about. We're people now who have our relationships to everything else changed. We no longer get to just live for what is the best for me, what will get me the most money or satisfaction or power, but instead, what will it look like to share the love of Jesus in all those places in my life? Being a follower of Jesus is absolutely and utterly free, and it will cost us everything. Living in that tension of being utterly free receivers of grace we did not earn and cannot pay for, and also people who offer our lives back in utter surrender to find our lives rearranged in light of Jesus' priorities and vision. That's the conversation we're having this Sunday. That's the conversation you're invited to be a part of. See you then.